Hello, everybody. Welcome to A Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. This is our last week before the holiday break, and we have a huge slate of shows planned for you. Tonight, I'm talking to Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper, Andy and Anders themselves, plus Whoopi Goldberg. It's a pre-New Year's blowout. Honestly, I don't know how we could get any better than this. I mean, you'd have to have, like, Tom Hanks. What? Yeah. Hanks here tomorrow? Wow. And I already knew that? This is pretty good acting right now. Well, anyway, that's some star power. I mean, where do you go from there? I mean, wow, this is crazy. I'm going to throw it out there. What if we ended the week with George Clooney? What? Holy tequila company. Friday is Cloon Day? This is quite a slate of spectacular, highly promotable celebrity guests, but as fun as that's all going to be, and it's going to be so much fun, it's really ultimately a shame that I didn't get a chance to talk to President-elect Joe Biden and future First Lady Jill Biden for their first joint post-election interview. Great suffering, Scranton! They're going to be on here Thursday? It's unbelievable. Wow. Wow, 2020 is just the best. What's that? Oh, it was just the worst? Okay, let's move on. One thing I'm sure to talk about with the president-elect is his cool new job. Last night, after the Electoral College formally chose him, the president-elect delivered a primetime speech in which he called out the Republicans who signed on to Texas's case attempting to throw out the election results.
This legal maneuver was an effort by elected officials and one group of states to try to get the Supreme Court to wipe out the votes of more than 20 million Americans in other states. It's a position so extreme, we've never seen it before.
Yeah, it was an extreme position, but the GOP is trying all kinds of freaky new anti-democratic positions lately. They're all detailed in the McConnell Sutra. Speaking of which, fully illustrated. Speaking of which, with yesterday's Electoral College results, some Republicans have been forced to face their biggest fear, reality. Like Senate Majority Leader and Palpatine American Mitch McConnell. Today, McConnell took to the Senate floor and bravely faced a fact.
The Electoral College has spoken. So today I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden.
The president-elect was surprisingly grateful for McConnell's grudging acknowledgement.
I had a good conversation with Mitch McConnell today. I called him to thank him for the congratulations.
Mr. Leader, I just called to congratulate you for congratulating me. Now let's get to work. How about those cabinet appointments? Hello, Mitch, Jack? Hello? Hello? Mabel, get me Klondike 357. It's not just McConnell. Other Republicans are coming around, including Texas Senator and man who wants you to ask your doctor about Xeljanz, Sen Cornyn. Cornyn says Republicans need to recognize that Biden won, arguing there comes a time when you have to realize that despite your best efforts, you've been unsuccessful. Yeah, it's like we tell kids when they play sports. It is important to realize when you've lost, then 6 weeks later, drive back to the field so you can shake the other team's hands and say, good game, you cheater. Another Republican who's found the courage to accept the will of the voters is Senate Majority Whip and man wondering if he should throw a piece of plywood over the shallow grave, Sen Thune. Thune said that while the GOP may be disappointed with the result, at some point, you have to face the music. Yes, that music is a little ditty called Hail to the Chief, and for the next 4 years, you're going to hear it every time you stand up when Joe Biden walks into the room. But some in the GOP are still struggling to mince words in a way that will appease he who shall not be named. Just ask Wyoming Senator and man interrupting a woman to say the same thing she's saying, Sen Barrasso. When asked whether Biden is president-elect, Barrasso said that was a gotcha question. Yeah, classic gotcha question like who's the president and what's your name and what year is it and how many fingers am I holding up? And if they don't give the answers they like, all of a sudden they gotcha and 5-point restraints for your own safety. But the award for dumbest reply has got to go to North Dakota Senator and man caught looking at porn on his iPad, Sen Cramer. Cramer responded to the very straightforward question of whether Biden had won with this answer. Well, it seems to me that being elected by the Electoral College is a threshold where a title like that is probably most appropriate, and it's, I suppose you can say, official, if there is such a thing as official president-elect or anything else elect, and there's an inauguration that will swear somebody in, and that person will be president of the United States. But whether you can call it that or not, you know there are legal challenges that are ongoing, not very many, probably not a remedy that would change the outcome, but so I don't know how a politician refers to another politician. I'm sorry, what? I'd hate to be office mates with Kevin Cramer. Hey, Kev, did you, by any chance, eat my yogurt from the fridge? Well, it seems to me that writing your name on a snack is a threshold where it might be appropriate to say it was yours, given that you, I suppose you could say, labeled, if there is such a thing as officially claiming yogurt or any dairy product that, of course, the original cow has some interest in, and perhaps there's a communal cooling box which we refer to as the fridge. Whether you call it a fridge or not, the cooling agent itself is Freon, although there are others that can be used, not very many. Probably none that would bring the yogurt back after it's been consumed. So I don't know how a man acknowledges another man's Chobani. While GOP leadership has had a hard time admitting their defeat in the presidential election, they're getting more straight talk from their boss's boss, because this morning, Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated Biden on winning the U.S. election. Not a great look for Senate Republicans when the guy who interfered in our election is like, come on, he won. At a certain point, you guys are poisoning democracy. And not in the right way, with poison. But it looks like our current president is never going to concede. Reportedly, the closest thing he comes to is saying, if we don't win, I don't say lose, I say I don't win. Holy stupid. Now, I don't say he's pathetic, but I say he's don't dignified. The president is blaming everyone but himself for his not win, including his old pals at Fox News. According to a source close to the president, he vowed to make Fox News pay for accurately calling the race. Yes, how dare Fox report news? Their job is to spread GOP propaganda, sell lubricated catheters, and employ the meanest member from every sorority. Speaking of divorce from reality, yesterday, as part of a plot to pretend the Electoral College doesn't mean anything, a group of yahoos, calling themselves electors, showed up at the Michigan State Capitol and tried to cast their votes for the guy who lost their state. And it went about as well as you would hope.
The Capitol is closed unless you have an office here to conduct business today, or if you are taking part in the Electoral College process. Anybody else is not permitted to come in the Capitol.
We're electors.
They're electors. Yeah, the electors are already here. They've been checked in.
Not all the electors are inside.
Capitol is closed. All 16 electors that we've been advised by the governor's staff that we're going to be here to vote in the Electoral College have been checked in. They're already here.
But the GOP electors, I'm sorry.
I understand.
Stare. Ian's here.
The Capitol is closed.
That's awkward. That's like a guy showing up at someone else's wedding and telling the usher, hi, I'm here to marry Caitlin. I understand she's exchanging vows with someone else. Not all the grooms are inside. I'm her Republican husband. The COVID vaccine, in case you haven't heard, is here, and people are getting it. And this is an absolute triumph of science. But the pharma industry still has occasional oopsies out there. For instance, one pharma company, Avcare, and I trust I'm mispronouncing that, recently issued a recall after they accidentally packaged erectile dysfunction drugs with antidepressants. So there's the answer if you're wondering why your penis has started painting again and is up for the picnic. The two drugs in question are trazodone, which is used to treat major depressive disorders, and sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra. That's weird. I always thought the active ingredient in Viagra was acoustic guitar jams with my boys. While these pills were recalled, another pharmaceutical company sees this mix-up as an opportunity, and they've released this helpful new ad.
When I started suffering from seasonal depression, I asked my doctor about trazodone. He said, sure, I could prescribe you trazodone, or I could take you on the ride of your life. He gave me Turgilax.
Turgilax is the only medication that relieves symptoms of depression or erectile dysfunction, depending on which pill you happen to get, because all the pills look exactly the same. What? Afraid to roll the bones? Sounds like you need Turgilax.
Ever since I started taking Turgilax, my life has, well, I wouldn't say improved, but it's definitely more exciting. In fact, I took a pill about 20 minutes before we started shooting this, and it's gonna be a sad day. From the waist up. Honey, get in here, it's time.
Turgilax. Side effects may include loss of carnal appetite, suicidal testicles, rectal ennui, prospector's hump, brow lobsters, and groin groan. If your erection or sadness lasts longer than 4 hours, hey, take more Turgilax. Turgilax, because life is hard, and so is your penis.
We got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen, plus Whoopi Goldberg. But first, meanwhile, join us, won't you?